Lagos court today says the legislature can probe former Governor Ambode over the purchase of 820 buses under his administration, but the former governor has appealed the case. And the former governor of Delta State, James Ibori, and the governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, came to Lagos today to reconcile the party, warning the Lagos APC that they're coming behind them and they are fighting hard. Hello everyone and welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Joaquin Baloye. Wherever you may be, let's get started with some of your juiciest and the topical stories that we have for you as far as politics is concerned in Nigeria. There may be a threat coming from the PDP, and it's for the APC in Lagos. The APC in Lagos is getting this threat, and the PDP is saying they are coming to sweep the APC off their feet. You will hear that in a short moment. So let's tell you that the efforts to resolve the crisis rocking the People's Democratic Party in Lagos, and to do the job are some heavyweights. A former governor of Delta State, James Ibori, governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, were in Lagos today at the office of the Lagos PDP leader, Chief Olabode George. But before and after the 2019 elections, the party has been divided. Some have left even the party's chairman, then jumped ship and moved to the APC. There is a court case over the leadership tussle, but it appears there is now good news based on the meeting they had with Bode George.
No, it's a mission accomplished. You can see my father and leader here. We're able to, be frontal in how the issues were addressed. So I think we've made quite some progress. And I can give you the assurance that the unity of PDP in Lagos State is sacrosanct right now, and is putting the APC on notice that they need to prepare for what is coming as them in Lagos State.
Very impressed, and we have a solution.
Heard Governor Seyi Makinde there. The APC should be bothered about what is coming at them. What could that be? Well, you remember Mr. Babatunde Gbadamosi, who thrilled everyone at the Lagos governorship debate. He was the ADP candidate at the time, who came third in the election. He's thinking of moving back to the PDP. He was at that meeting too. Take a listen to it.
Engineer Doherty is a very good brother and a very good friend of mine. And he invited me back to the party, along with Chief Bode George also invited me back to. In fact, I came to see Chief Bode George and discussed with him. And he welcomed me with open arms and said, do the needful. And I interpreted that to mean that I needed to return home to the PDP.
So let me work on your political mind now. If you know Lagos PDP very well, one face that I did not see there is Jimmy Agbaje. How far is this reconciliation meeting, and what is going to happen? You remember, let me remind you also that there is a case in court over the leadership of the PDP in Lagos after the former chairman jumped ship and went to the APC. So let's string some issues now. If you look at that man, Mr. Babatunde Gbadamosi, who was the ADP governorship candidate, he came third. If he comes back to the PDP, could he be the person Mr. Seyi Makinde is talking about, that they are coming out of the APC? Let's leave that for another day. Let's now check out some other political stories we are following for you.
The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, presided over the National Economic Council meeting in the nation's capital, Abuja. Several state governors, including the new governor of Bayelsa State, Mr. Daoye Diri, are in attendance. The Vice President, by the provisions of the country's constitution, is the chairman of the National Economic Council, which meets every month to deliberate on the coordination of the economic planning efforts and economic programs of the various levels of government. A High Court sitting in Lokoja has declared the impeachment of former Kogi State Deputy Governor Mr. Simon Achuba null and void. The court also ruled that the subsequent nomination of Mr. Edward Onoja as the State Deputy Governor did not follow due process and that it is a violation of the Constitution. The presiding judge, Justice John Olorunfemi, described Mr. Achuba's impeachment by the State House of Assembly as a constitutional coup hatched and executed in a democracy. Members of the People's Democratic Party in Imo State and supporters of the former governor Emeka Ihedioha have organized a one-day prayer meeting seeking divine intervention ahead of Monday's Supreme Court judgment review. The crowd in their numbers gathered at the Kanu Nwakwa Sports Complex in Owerri, the Imo State capital, praying that the ruling on Tuesday will favor the party in the best interest of the state. They also used the medium to call on the Supreme Court to reverse the judgment, describing it as erroneous and a miscarriage of justice. A bill for an act to provide special funding, training and provision of modern security equipment for revamping of the military has passed through second reading in the House of Representatives. While some of the lawmakers supported the bill by emphasizing that there is a need to fund the military beyond the annual budgetary provisions, others questioned the utilization of the funds that have so far been provided for the fight against insurgency.
And now to our main conversation for tonight. The Lagos High Court is striking out former Governor Akinwumi Ambode's suit, seeking an injunction to restrain the state lawmakers from probing him over the purchase of 820 buses. Justice Yetunde Adesanya held that the court lacked the jurisdiction to stop the lawmakers from going ahead with the probe. Former Governor Ambode instituted a civil suit against the State House of Assembly, its Speaker Mudashiru Obasa, and the House Clerk, Mr. Sani. The Lagos State House of Assembly had summoned former Governor Ambode to appear before it to explain all he knows about some financial transaction that took place under his administration. Hours after the Lagos High Court struck out the application by Mr. Akinwumi Ambode, he has filed his notice. He has filed a notice of appeal. The document shows that the former governor is seeking an order of the appeal court restraining the lawmakers from going ahead or taking further steps in respect of the probe pending the final determination of the appeal. The former governor also wants the court to make an order restraining the lawmakers from taking any steps that will deprive him of his personal right to liberty pending the determination of the appeal. Let's get a sense of what really these issues are. A lot of people will tell you that this is not so much about how much he spent or the politics of the buses that have been purchased. After all, the former governor invited the president to Lagos to launch those buses. And in fact, the Osho, the interchange, a popular area in Lagos where there is a bus interchange, which is still unused as we speak, is under scrutiny of the House of Assembly. The question is that a lot of people are still asking how these monies were spent when the House of Assembly said due process was not followed. How true is that? They also are putting politics in all of this, that the former governor stood against the former governor and the leader of the party, Bola Tinubu, at the last election. Of course, the former governor lost out at the primary. So what could this all mean altogether? Let's get a sense of it. I have our friend, consultant, election consultant, Mr. GT Ogunye. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
It's my pleasure.
And from our Abuja studio is a political scientist, Professor Isaac Obasi. Thank you so much, Prof, for coming on tonight. Let's get a sense of what this means. Mr. Akinwumi Ambode says he does not want this to happen because maybe you lawyers understand the reasons why this kind of order is being sought to stop a process on him. And now the court has said they can go ahead, but he has filed an appeal. In the legal sense of it, can they go ahead when the appeal has been filed?
It depends. By law and procedure, an appeal does not operate automatically as a stay of all actions or a stay of execution of a judgment or a stay of proceedings. But when an application called an injunction pending appeal is filed and only served on the adversary, although that application is yet to be heard and determined by the appellate court, parties naturally will be expected to wait for the determination of that application in order not to overreach what the Court of Appeal may decide. So it's a procedural matter, and to that extent one can say that once a party lost a case in the lower court, that party has a constitutional right of appeal to the appellate court. And if that's what is done, it's within its right to do that.
You think, why would he be seeking an injunction to stop the probe?
No. As to the why, you know, we understand why politicians generally are averse to being probed by their successors or by anti-corruption agencies. Because usually, you know, politicians mess up. And so it is said in popular parlance that a clean conscience fears no accusation. Not so for politicians in this climate. Because there will be a lot of things they will have done in the course of their stewardship that will expose them to sanction. And so generally politicians do not want to be probed. I would say that probing those who have left office or those who are even in office, but for the stonewall of immunity should be a routine thing. That's how you hold people accountable. When people mouth all these cliches, transparency, accountability, probity in government, how do you ensure that if there is no review of your conduct? It should be a way of life. Indeed, when I see a governor being sworn in, committing to not probing his predecessor, that usually tells him that he's going to steal in office. And so he doesn't want to be probed by his own successor. So it should be a routine thing.
Okay, so let's, Professor Obasi, if you look, there are at least two former governors that are in Kuje as we speak. Former governor in Abia and the former governor in Plateau State. From what is happening in Lagos State, what do you make of it? You think this is political in nature, considering the antecedent or the relationship that went bitter between the Lagos leader and the former governor?
Thank you, Sean. I think, to buy the idea of a popular view, popular view is not the view of top politicians in Lagos, the view of the masses, people who are observing. I think the man's travail has to do with politics. There's no doubt about it. If what we see from the outside is what we think it is, it may not be anyway. The man should be allowed to rest. Having denied him second term.
Prof, apologies. We need to take a break, but our viewers will get a sense of what you mean. Break it down for us after this break. But we'll take some messages and we'll be back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's get back to the conversation. Mr. G.T. Ogunye, election analyst and a lawyer here in Lagos, and Professor Isaac Obasi, a professor at the University of Abuja. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on tonight. So, Professor, we're talking about the probe of the former governor of Lagos State, Ambode, who went to court to say court, stop these people from trying to probe me. And the court says, no, they can go ahead to probe you, but he's going to appeal that case. He's saying they wanted to probe the purchase of 820 buses, which they say about 520 or so at the time when they went in that probe were delivered, and the others were not quite delivered. The monies and the manner in which they were purchased came under scrutiny. There are also cases of about 200,000 US dollars that were allegedly exchange ends over bribery. These are some of the issues that came up and is now in court. But you're saying that this is largely a political matter. Break it down for us, Prof.
Sure, let me put it this way. There is hardly any politician in this country from A to Z that you can vouch for. You can't vouch for any one of them. I cannot do that. But we must be looking for the dirtiest. We must be looking for those who have committed worse crimes, embezzlement, dividing our people, creating more problems in the political scene. We look for them. But when we see those who are gentlemen in politics, who, because of the way the system works, even an angel in this country will be corrupted if anyone enters, we can take side and pity such a people. I am on the side of a man called Ambode. He doesn't know me, I don't know him. But I looked at him, watched from Lagos, observation of my Lagos politics, as a man who was committed, a man who appeared apparently decent. I don't know about that. There are many things inside we don't know. To the extent that we were wondering at the time he was campaigning, why would you campaign when you are doing your work? But at the end of the day, we saw some things that came out not to be pleasant. The issue now is in terms of relativity, not in terms of purity of the man's action. If all these things that are alleged are what is the truth, he should be probed. And the court has said so. But you know, in the Nigerian system, politicians will never rest. They want to exhaust the court. If he wants to go to appeal court, he's free. And like my colleague said there, it's only when the appeal court gives an injunction, interlocutory injunction, that you can say, okay, the House of Assembly don't do. But for now, the House of Assembly can begin their probe. But what worries me as an observer, I was in Lagos just the other day. What worries me was when I was passing through, heading to the airport, I saw that that place was still not being used well. Oshodi. And I saw the one in Bakantoni Street. And I was wondering, the president came to Lagos and launched this as citizens are interested in the service. And as we know, Lagos, transport is a major problem. So we are interested in seeing these things work, probe or no probe. That's my position. When I say largely political, I am talking in terms of relativity. If it's in terms of purity of political actions, no politician can go free from A to Z.
So let's come back to Lagos, Mr. Ogunye. If you look at how this incident played out in Lagos, a lot of political watchers are saying, is it coincidence that it was at the time when Mr. Ambode had a problem with the political leader in Lagos in the APC, Bola Tinubu, that they came up with all of these issues? People will be asking the question, why was the eyebrow not raised when the purchases were made? Why was it at the moment when things fell apart between both men that these issues were raised? And all of these projects were going on. Do you also read any politics within all of this that has happened?
My inclination is not to be worrying myself sick about conspiracy theories. Look, I want an open society. I want a democratic society. I want a society that's governed by the rule of law. I want a society where probity, accountability, and decency in our public affairs reign supreme. And those who put their step forward for elective offices should be willing to surrender to probe. Look,
So Mr. Ambode should not have anything to fear.
he shouldn't have anything to fear. My expectation is that God should elongate his life. When the Buhari administration packs up, the successor should probe that administration. That's how you build enduring institutions in
But if
society.
there is a witch hunt, for example,
Look, you face that witch hunt and you demonstrate to everyone that this is a witch hunt. That's how you confront witch hunt, not by running away from it and saying that I shall not be probed. Indeed, that kind of thing is an extension of the immunity an executive governor enjoyed while in office. Elsewhere, we talked about the governor having a perpetual injunction that he shall not be investigated by anti-corruption agencies. I'm saying that, and I'm not a sadist, I want to see people being probed.
if you see
I want to see
the
people
kind
being
of
asked
the kind of
questions.
environment that surrounded the situation of Ambode,
and believe
the
you
kind
me,
of what people
believe
now
you me,
say political humiliation
believe you me,
that he faced.
Believe you me.
How would you put that context?
Believe you me. Believe you. I will also challenge that house to go and probe the predecessors. That's how you do things. So that here I won't be talking about, look, why me? Why not others? I'm interested in people being asked questions about their stewardship. How did you do it? Even for people who run small companies. There are periodic audits. Not to talk of people who govern or misgovern us. This whole idea of, don't let them probe me. I can't be probed. I don't like it. I'm telling you, we will not make any progress in this country if we validate the idea that people that go into public offices should not be probed. And when they are being probed, it is because they're falling out of favor. Even if that's what it is good. So that those who go into offices tomorrow will know that let me not fall out of favor. Otherwise, I'll be probed and I will be exposed. It's good
Professor,
for our democracy.
Yeah, Professor, do you share Mr. Ogunye's views? And if you were in Mr. Ambode's shoes, what would you do?
Sure, look, I put it this way. I enjoy all he's saying. I subscribe those views, but I am talking in relativities. This probe, how many people have been probed and the result of it useful? Look at the Auditor General's report. Tell me which NDA is free. Tell me which NDA is free. The system is rotten. Put an angel there, that's what I'm going to see. Talking about probing Ambode, you have to remove immunity for everybody, every governor, not only him. If you put immunity there, that's what makes people to push and ask him, do this, and they do it. Say you have immunity. Do this, you're executive governor. Remove immunity, let me see them bar. And if we see them bar, they will have conscience and self-control without political pressure for them to do many things. That man is a financial wizard. That man, read about him as a political administrator in the financial field. He's one of the best. So he should know if he has committed the errors, he should be probed like others. But the probing is not the issue. Like Sheung pointed out, at the time of when this thing came up, don't you see the linkage? Don't you see the nexus?
All right.
The nexus between politics
we're out
and
of
ambition.
time, but I wish we had more time to discuss it. Professor Isaac Obasi, a professor at the University of Abuja. Mr. Ogunye, thank you so much for coming on. My hands are not in the
Probe is a way of life.
Probe is a way of life. Thank you so much, Mr. Ogunye. The EFCC should come after you to have been probed. That's a light side. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching tonight. That's our show. I'm Sean Kimbale. Bye for now.